In September last year, when I published my first ever YouTube video, never did I think I would be making this type of video 9 months later. This weekend will be my final weekend working my day job because I've been able to make YouTube a profitable career in which I'm making more money than I've ever made in a 9 to 5. So in this video, I want to express my gratitude to you all for watching and supporting me, tell you a little bit more about my backstory and the story behind this channel, my journey, and share some advice for anyone who is looking to make YouTube or anything else online, social media, into a career. Let's go back to the beginning. It's very hard to say exactly where the idea from Gent Z came from. I think I was working on it subconsciously for many years before the idea came to the forefront of my mind. But there was a definitive weekend in which I decided to do this. It must have been early August or early September, I'd say, of last year. At the time, I had a steady job. I was studying advertising as well in the evenings. I wanted to be a copywriter at an ad agency. The closer I got to this goal, the more I realized that the advertising world wasn't going to provide a salary to my liking, not in the early stages of my career at least. And the reality was that advertising was actually nothing like what I'd seen on Mad Men. So I thought, you know what I'll do? I'll go into sales. I'd watched too many Andy Elliott videos on YouTube, so I put on my best blazer and tie and drove around every luxury car dealership in the city asking for a job. My cockeyed strategy, however, did not work. So back to the drawing board. What happened that weekend? It was a terribly hot weekend. The air conditioning in my house was barely working, and I remember lying on the sofa and I had a huge pad of A3 paper. I was just trying to map out what the hell do I do with my life. I suppose it was what they call a quarter-life crisis. I was just trying to figure out what the hell I was going to do, what was going to make me enough money, what interested me, and what was I passionate about. Passionate about cars going past in the window. You see, I've never really wanted an ordinary life. As a younger man, I was a musician. All I wanted to do was write and record music. I spent years chasing that goal, which certainly gave me a good work ethic, but really I got nowhere. After coming close to signing a record deal in London, but not quite cinching it, I realized I was no longer enjoying the process of being a musician. And I decided to put that dream on hold for a little while and moved to the US for a fresh start. I spent the first year and a half in the US simply enjoying my life and just being an average person, really. I had a job that paid okay but wasn't too demanding. I went to the beach, I got a girlfriend, I made new friends, and I taught guitar as a side hustle. But by the summer of 2023, my restless ambition had stirred up again and I needed to do something more. As I looked at this A3 sheet of paper, I saw 2 words I'd written down: passion project. I knew there was a gaping hole in my life and in my future that only a passion project could fill. What the hell could that be though if it weren't music? I can't quite explain how it came to me, but I began to consider, what if I had a YouTube channel? I'd grown up watching guys like Real Men, Real Style and Alpha M, and as an adult I'd enjoyed watching Gentleman's Gazette and sartorial talks, but I wasn't those guys. I didn't have the money to buy the best suits. I didn't have years and years of experience. Frankly, I just thought, who is going to listen to me? I have to give my girlfriend at the time credit because she spent a lot of time talking with me about this idea I had. I showed her Antonio and Aaron's videos and said I wanted to do something like them. She was very encouraging, and that meant a lot to me because, unlike most people in life, your friends and family, she didn't bullshit me. If she thought it was a crap idea, I know she would have told me. So I decided to try it. Well, not try it, do it. I spent the first weekend devising the blueprint for what the channel would be. I wrote a bunch of names down and one of them was Gent Z. I liked that name. It seemed strong and it gave me confidence in what I was doing. Even if I wasn't a style expert like Raphael Schneider or Hugo Giacometti, I decided I would simply share the knowledge I had at the time rather than pretend to be someone I wasn't. Fortunately, I had a journalism background. I knew how to write a script, I knew how to edit and make a video and make a thumbnail and work YouTube, basically. When I set up my phone to record that first video, I was in business. Except I wasn't. For the first 3 months, these videos got almost no views. What kept me going, really, was that I'd set my expectations very low and simply committed to making 3 videos a week. What's more, I told nobody, apart from my girlfriend, about my channel. I created entirely new social media profiles. That meant I could fail and embarrass myself on the internet in private. So if you are allowing the fear of what others will think to hold you back, I highly encourage you to start in secrecy. Working in secret, with every week, with every video, things got better. I learned more about my topics and I gained an audience inch by inch. I remember literally jumping around my living room with joy when I got my first 100 subscribers, which took around a month. My dream was that maybe in a year or a few years I'd have 10K. Maybe eventually this could become a job, but it really wasn't my goal, and it was, as I mentioned, a passion project. The first time things began to show potential was in December. I'd been on a flight to Argentina when I rewatched the movie Casino Royale. From that movie, I was inspired to make a video about James Bond's casual style. That was the first video that got my channel a significant number of views. I remember when it crossed over 100,000 views and my channel finally reached 1,000 subscribers. Now, if you know anything about YouTube, you may know that 1,000 subscribers is the minimum point at which you can collect ad revenue on your channel. My first ad revenue day, I earned about $2, but it kept growing, and especially as this Bond video kept getting more and more views. I made other videos about James Bond's style and they also performed well, so my ad revenue increased to as much as about $50 a day by New Year's Eve. It was when I returned home that I got an email that really changed my life. It was from Antonio Centeno, the guy behind Real Men, Real Style, my favorite YouTuber of all time. I was freaking out when I got this email, I cannot tell you. I thought it was surely fake at first. He didn't say much in the email, just that he liked my videos and that it would be cool to chat sometime. Next day, I'm on the phone with Antonio and it's really him, and he's been my mentor and one of the best friends I've had through this journey ever since. From January to February, I kept uploading, kept improving, and hit 10,000 subscribers. However, it was in March that my channel really grew and actually began making the kind of ad revenue that overtook my salary from my job. In March and April, I uploaded a video every single day. I think I missed 2 days in that entire 2-month period. I had just broken up with my girlfriend and moved to Chicago where I didn't know anybody. So while it wasn't the happiest or healthiest time in my life, my God did I make progress, because for that period of time there was nothing else in my life. And I knew that the things I wanted to achieve in life were on the other side of this hard work. A few videos I made in this period went semi-viral, a few 100,000 views, and this massively boosted my subscriber count from around 10,000 or 20,000 to 60,000, 70,000 in a couple of months. In April, I began accepting sponsorships, and although they're a relatively small part of the income I make from YouTube, it is another source of ad revenue, and this whole YouTube thing began to look more like a viable business. For a couple of months, I was at a crossroads. Should I keep my job and keep growing the channel at its current rate? Or should I quit my job, take that risk, and go all in? Well, the logical part of my brain said that I should save 6 months of living expenses before quitting. I had just several $1,000s in savings, and I just signed a lease on a pretty expensive apartment. But the brave, emotional part of me wanted to go all in now, to take that risk and to live the life that I wanted to live. After all, I had no children. Well, I still have no children, no responsibilities, and if I fell down, it was only me that was going to get hurt. What's more, I noticed a huge difference in my happiness and fulfillment when working on the channel versus my day job. The good news was I worked remotely, so I could slack off a hell of a lot. I only worked about 20 hours a week at my day job and spent another 60 hours focusing on my channel. I used the extra income I had from the 2 jobs to eliminate distractions. That meant hiring a cleaner, getting meals prepped for me and delivered, and really anything I could spend to save me time. However, I didn't feel like I was appreciating this extra money, and unfortunately I wasn't saving it. To save up my 6 months of living expenses before quitting was going to take a few months, and frankly, my passion for Gent Z was stronger than my patience. Around this time, I met Antonio in real life, and he introduced me to Raphael from the Gentleman's Gazette. I hope they won't mind me saying this, but these guys make a hell of a lot of money with what they do. I learned about their business models, and I received a lot of encouragement from them. I thought to myself, you are in the room with the right people, your idols in fact, and they think you're doing great. If this isn't a sign to go all in and be courageous, then what is? I realized that taking risk is essential for any man with an entrepreneurial spirit who wants to make something extraordinary of his life. So I handed in my notice at the start of June. Now I'm preparing to take the plunge into becoming a full-time YouTuber. But I don't just envision Gent Z as a YouTube channel, rather a fully encompassing men's lifestyle brand. Whether that's physical merchandise, educational courses, or my one-on-one calls, I want this to go beyond the limitations of just a channel and make Gent Z a lifelong career. The only limit is my imagination, and I don't know yet exactly where things will go, but I promise to maintain my values of gentlemanliness and style in everything I do. So, do I have any advice for someone looking to do something similar? Maybe you're watching this and you don't have any interest in the style space, but you do want to become a YouTuber or do something productive online. Now, everyone talks about consistency, and it is very, very important. Most people would have dropped off and given up during the early stages when I was making videos, committing time and getting nowhere. But this commitment of making 3 videos a week, whatever happened, was very important in getting me through that tough stage where you put a lot of work into it, but nobody is watching. At the same time though, there are tons of YouTubers who've been uploading consistently for years and still have only built a small audience. YouTube or any kind of content creation requires a few skills. Video editing, scripting, filming, and making thumbnails are the most obvious ones. But the most important skill, in my opinion, is by far ideation. Having the creativity to come up with original ideas, carve out a niche for yourself, and express your thoughts in an interesting way. That's what makes a channel stand out. It's this creative element to this pursuit that I really love. I said I made this channel as a passion project, but what I was passionate about, it wasn't necessarily clothes, etiquette, or dating by themselves. It was more, there was a world that I envisioned that Gent Z could exist in. It was a kind of Cary Grant, Mad Men, James Bond, vintage Playboy world where men wore suits, spoke like gentlemen, and lived interesting, varied lives. That was the combination that I didn't see out there, especially for young men, and I was passionate about creating it. But I didn't have this fully formed idea straight from the beginning. It rather evolved over time, and it continues to evolve today. With my channel, I present a lifestyle, but I also present an ideal. And the harder I work, the closer I get to that ideal, but then the more I learn, the more the ideal keeps changing and growing. So it's a continual journey of growth and exploration that I share with you. Gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed hearing my story and that you are glad to hear I'm now putting 100% of my focus onto this channel. As you may have noticed, never have I once asked people to like my videos or to subscribe. I've always believed that if you're delivering something valuable, people will subscribe and interact of their own accord. Now, if you really love what I do here and you're in a position to support this channel, there is a link in the description where you can book a one-to-one styling session with me, or you can simply leave a donation. Until the next one, gentlemen, thank you for watching.